know that women didn't wear panties until the mid-1830s? And before that, any form of pants was considered too masculine. Under those petticoats, everyone from Martha Washington to Marie Antoinette was naked. King Tut's tomb contained 145 loincloths, diaper-like underpants. And female slaves in ancient Greece and Egypt often wore nothing but a necklace and a thong. Roman noblemen wore tunics and briefs under their togas. Women wore tunics too, and breastbands that made them fashionably flat-chested. The hoop skirts of the 1850s and 1860s created a problem. The stiff frame that gave the skirt a shape flew up in a high wind. The solution? Pantaloons. Men didn't wear boxers or briefs until the 20th century. Long johns or union suits, so-called because the undershirt and the drawers were united in one piece, were the way to go. In the earlier days, the long tails of men's shirts did double duty as underpants. And I was wearing pants during the recording of this video. Good morning. Have a good weekend, y'all.
So what do we have to read this morning, Tucker? What should I read to you, buddy? And this is an exercise in cognitive dysfunction, conditioning, and sharpening. Hey, buddy. My Indian name is Reads to Cats. My name is Daryl, and I have primary progressive multiple sclerosis, and during the course of this video I may have some vacant pauses, and I may stutter, and that is due to multiple sclerosis. My speech has been impeded over the last several years, probably losing my speech, so I'm trying to sharpen my focus and keep my
speech a little sharper.
And good morning from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. One day in the year 1278, you're a normal German peasant getting your typical day's worth of abuse from landowners, clerics, wealthy merchants, crazed neighbors, the wife, and kiddies. The next thing you know, pow, you're easing on down the road just twitching and dancing like an extra in some 13th century road company of the Whiz. Bad booze or something more sinister? The day started out quietly enough. You woke up at 5, milked the cows, rethatched the roof with another coat of dung, then got chased a mile by that crazy Mueller kid with the mismatched eyes. Now it was time to shop and maybe relax for a few hours in town. You pulled the goose quills out of your neck, courtesy of young Mueller, a superb marksman despite his insanity. Brushed yourself off and headed into town for a quick brewski with the boys to pick up virtuals for the evening meal. On your way into town, you run into nearly 200 townspeople near the Moss River Bridge. For some bizarre reason, they're all doing some crazy jig, looking like they've escaped from the local laughing academy. You feel suddenly compelled to join in. In minutes, you're all thrashing your bodies around randomly, arms hitting heads, legs kicking all willy-nilly, bodies dragging on the ground. Wait until the housefrau hears about this, you think. Suddenly, the bridge gives out with the weight of all you dancers, and nearly the entire cadre is wiped out into the river. But you and about 10 others survive. Mother of mercy, you scream, and rightly so. The town priest has you and the others in tow, and is bringing you post-haste to the chapel for some blessings or for some blessing or other. The visit to the chapel, dedicated to St. Vitus, is miraculous. As soon as you enter the still, dark sanctum, all dancing subsides as quickly as it had begun. "Cured," screams the priest. "Cured," rejoins the small, saved band of ex-dancers. Your experience that morning will be forever recorded as the mystery of St. Vitus's dance. and the saint whose chapel you were brought to will be forever known as the patron saint of those afflicted with what was once called the dancing plague. But this sort of thing didn't just happen in this one accursed spot in Germany. During the Middle Ages, there were incidents all over Europe where large groups of people displayed what can only be called hysterical behavior. That is, physical symptoms caused by mental anxiety of some kind. Dancing mania was frequently a symptom of this hysteria. It's been documented in psychiatric journals and books, jam-packed with tales of tormented people nearly dancing themselves to death. The term dancing, in describing this disorder, comes from the Latin word chorea and is characterized by involuntary jerking movements of the extremities. There is a medical condition called chorea, but most experts agree that the medieval involuntary dancing was undoubtedly a psychological phenomenon. But the infectiousness of it, like what happened to you when you saw everyone dancing near the bridge, is a sure symptom of mass hysteria brought on, most experts agree, by the oppressiveness of life in the Middle Ages. It was a way for the downtrodden peasant to escape the social pressure cooker for a while. The lively Italian dance called the tarantella, had its roots in dancing mania too. The name Tarantella comes from one of two sources. Historians can't decide if it was named for the town of Taranto, where an early outbreak occurred, or if the victims thought it was caused by the bite of a tarantula. Either way, leave it to the Italians. The onlookers got out their mandolins and tambourines and set it to music. Now the tarantella is a staple at Italian weddings on both sides of the Atlantic. Shindan. Happy dancing, my friends, and have a very safe and successful day wherever you may roam.